This is actually important. So let's take the 3 layers here. We don't have single payer, which is why every year tens of thousands of people die of preventable deaths. People don't get care they need. This crisis is radically deepened because we don't have national health care in this country. And all of the places that we praise, like South Korea, who have outperformed this, they have built on a foundation of national governmental health care. So every single person that has fought against that, from Donald Trump to Andrew Cuomo, from Mitt Romney to Joe Biden, from Lindsey Graham to Barack Obama to Kamala Harris to
careful.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I know that obviously when you've had members of your family get sick, you should never be called upon to support coverage for everyone. I forgot the rules there.
Yeah, you can just avoid the part about poor people if that happens.
Absolutely. Nice. Yes. If you have had a family member die of a horrible illness, you're completely off the hook for caring about poor people getting coverage for that horrible illness.
Yeah, because you can be outraged.
That was the last thing that Bo did for Joe Biden before he passed.
That's right.
Exactly. Honestly, they use them. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. That's the way that this is used rhetorically.
No, but that's actually really important. I mean, think about this. President Obama wrote Joe Biden a check to help his family take care of that, of his son's cancer treatment. So you're talking about, yes, as vice president, you don't make a great salary. Okay. Like you're not ultra rich, but you're certainly upper middle class. You're obviously insured. His son was insured. There's plenty of money, like everything short of being Jeff Bezos in terms of access and connections. And the family needed a check from a person who happened to be a friend, which is the president of the United States, to cover that. Just absorb that when we're talking about healthcare in this country. And then, of course, the second layer is that Donald Trump and the Republicans will not even open the piddling Obamacare exchanges, which might help a few people in this crisis. Obviously not everybody, but some. And they won't do that. But Mike Pence does know who to thank.
Care administration to make sure that people have access to that coverage. But we're going to continue to bring opportunities to the president. The traditional systems of Medicaid in particular for the uninsured in America.
Could you expand that to cover middle class people?
I think what we're seeing health insurance companies do today, John, is really inspiring. I mean, one of the things that's characterized the president's approach here.
People who already have insurance.
Well, one of the things that has animated and characterized the president's approach is the way he's engaged American businesses to step up and do their part. And as the president said many times, we're inspired by the spirit of American businesses. I was at a distribution center for Walmart.
So all the companies that are taking your money in the form of bailouts to pad themselves while they lay people off, who have gutted our entire social infrastructure while robbing people blind for decades. Thank you for, I don't even know. That's the thing is, I don't even know what the indirect thank you is, right? Like, I don't even know what the pretend thing we're pointing to give them credit for.
Yeah, I think it's really inspiring. I got this story here. I don't know if it's going to show up on my screen. Exclusive Kushner firm built the coronavirus website Trump promised. And it's really inspiring to me that that's where some of my money's going to, because I have Oscar. So I love that. I'm just very inspired by all the different insurance companies and vendors. I love hearing vendors. I love to wait on when's the new news from the vendor about whether we have masks gonna come. Like, I love this new capitalism is really inspiring me right now. I love it.
It is so terrifying that he's in any way in charge of how they're dealing with this crisis in New York City. Like, his tweets about it are terrifying.
Yeah. It's
basically like thousands of lives are dependent on whatever Jared Kushner happened to Google that day. And, constrained by his professional connections.
No, Lord Faultnoy is both totally immoral and also pretty genuinely stupid. Like, I'm not as I've said, I'm not a big believer not at all a believer in the meritocracy. And I don't necessarily think that, tests yield that much information or whatever. But I always go back to this book. I forget the name of it, but essentially it was like an expose of the Ivy League that was written like at least a decade ago. And like,
spoiler alert, it's bad.
How rich people, specifically how people get in, not even like the culture of the schools, like what it takes to get in. And Jared Kushner is literally a case study. Can somebody look this up? Like just look up Jared Kushner, Harvard, like how he got in or something. And I mean, the bottom line is like, in addition to being like coming from an incredibly sleazoid family, with all sorts of exposés about slumlordism.
I can't share the screen, but
if you have it, read it.
I'm just going to read from ProPublica here. The curious story behind Jared Kushner's curious acceptance into Harvard. ProPublica editor Daniel Golden wrote a book a decade ago about how the rich buy their children access to elite colleges. One student he covered is now poised to become one of the most powerful figures in the country. Yeah, it's all
right.
It's
just
all
scroll down. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Oh man,
I would like to express the price of admission. I'd like to express my gratitude to Jared Kushner for reviving interest in my 2006 book, The Price of Admission. My book exposed the grubby secret of American higher education, that the rich buy their underachieving children into America's elite colleges with massive tax-deductible donations. It reported that New Jersey real estate developer Charles Kushner had pledged $2.5 million to Harvard University in 1998, not long before his son Jared was admitted to the prestigious Ivy League school. At the time, Harvard only accepted about 1 of every 9 applicants. I quoted, and I will stop now, but I just wanted to read this quote because it's great. This is the guy who, according to a report the other day, was just like, I'm not sure if we need all those ventilators. There's no way anybody this is somebody from Jared's high school in New Jersey. There's no way that anybody in the administrative office of the school thought he would on the merits get into Harvard. A former official at the Free School in Paramus, New Jersey, told me his GPA didn't warrant it. His SAT scores didn't warrant it. We thought for sure there was no way that this was going to happen. Then lo and behold, Jared was accepted. It was a little disappointing because there was a lot of other kids who we really thought they should get in on the merits and they should not. And that is by the way, that is from the perspective of being at a prestigious private prep school. Forget even like kids in public schools who didn't even get in on the merits.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, there's the layer of the false meritocracy that we have where, supposedly it's the people with the most merit who get into these schools. But we all know that people with lots of money have the money to pay for their kids to get SAT tutors and, math tutors to get the grades that they need, whatever. This is like a layer beyond that. It's like disgusting to the power of disgusting.
Do you guys see this Tyler Cowen tweet? It was about a Bloomberg story. Universities shouldn't spend their endowments on coronavirus relief, basically to like the laid off staff. And Cowen, just a villain, tweeted out, the real contributions of Harvard, MIT, and Stanford to the world are not the food service workers they hire. And
Amazing.
Just to remind people, Harvard's endowment is $40 billion at that one institution.
And they're laying off food service workers.
So,
and this sociopath, and wasn't Tyler Cowen? Everybody should read Democracy in Chains by Nancy MacLean. Democracy in Chains is one of the most important books you can read to understand the world and how it works and libertarianism and the Republican Party. And when that book first dropped, Tyler Cowen was like, this is really unfair to us. This is so mean.
Yeah, you took my context.
Plenty of liberal dinguses were just like, well, we want to be intellectually fair.
Yeah, no. Tyler Cowen's like, you took my comment about how Americans need to get used to living in favelas out of context. Just the horrible people. But these institutions, we need to get rid of these elite institutions that are just like philanthropy sucks. We need to have more egalitarian institutions like public state schools. Those need to come back. Those need to be what it is. This private shit needs to be gone. Like, I mean, it's just how the elite launder privilege into meritocracy. That's what these institutions are. So I don't know how we
Right.
got off. How did we get on?
Yeah,
to
and
By
just
talking about Jared
just-
Kushner.
just to circling back to the discussion of our private health insurance costs and the great things they're doing for our country right now. I think it was a Kaiser analysis projected that premiums, the things we know and love so much on places like Oscar, will rise anywhere between 4 and 40% because of the COVID-19 outbreak in 2021. So that's something to look forward to on the exchanges.
Their stocks are going up, up, up. But I do wonder what will happen when almost nobody can afford the premiums anymore, right? Like, are people just going to go without health insurance, or will some sort of market mechanism kick in? It hasn't yet to lower the prices.
I mean, some people will go without, and then I think, like, look, I definitely think there will be there's going to be some other bailout package.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it will be a little bit more, okay, let's get money to people, sure. And it's going to be like not money to empower you, not like actual delivery on anything like healthcare, but I think that we'll see more subsidies, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see more like, here's a rebate to blah, 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 to get some garbage insurance, and essentially like a way to maybe barely cover some people. That's essentially just like another disguised subsidy for the insurance industry.
Right.
That's what's coming.
I mean, yeah, this is the world we're living in now. The whole this whole previous era of majority report arguments with libertarians about free markets, like, no one's going to give a shit about that anymore. The idea that free markets and capitalism are going to be able to provide for people is going to be laughable. Now the state is going to intervene. It's just going to do so in a super corporate way and not a democratic way. I mean, that's and both parties are guilty of this.
And
I don't know. I can't wait to have the government give me money that I get to give directly to my landlord and my health insurance company, because there are no price controls on what these companies can do.
Yeah.